Hello, everybody. I'm here. It's Monday, the 1st of March, and I'm going to go through a topic lesson for today. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so our big question, what makes a good leader, of course. And as we said last week, we're really focusing on this rights and responsibilities aspect of our topic this term. So for today, you just need your English book and your pen or pencil. So our learning question for today is, can I understand how Roman Britain was governed? So we're going to look in a little bit more detail about how it was actually run. So it means thinking about how rules and laws were made in Roman times. And we've thought a little bit about that before, but we're really going to think about the impacts on the people living during that time today. So last time we did think about how Caesar ruled the Roman Empire, and we thought about these different characteristics, and we said he was the first dictator of Rome. So we're going to think a bit more about what that word means today. So let's first of all see if you can think, what do you remember about how laws are made now in Britain? Because last lesson we did a little bit on that, and we talked about how rules were made. So I wonder if you could remember that. So rules in Britain now, we live under a democracy, which means that not only do we have the opportunity to vote, but also rules that are, or laws that are made, the MPs have to agree on them, and they have to get agreed by the House of Commons and the House of Lords, and that's what we looked at last week. So lots of people get involved when it comes to making new laws. So one reason that the Roman Empire eventually declined was that it was too much of a dictatorship. So what do we know about what that word means, dictatorship? So we have thought about that before. So you have a little think. Okay, so a dictatorship is when a country is run by a single leader or group, and the people living there have no say on the way their country is run. So think about how that might feel, because we are really going to come back to our brave changemaker skill today of empathy. So we're going to think about how it would feel to live in a dictatorship. So knowing that a dictatorship is where the leader or the group who are leading make all the decisions, we'll think about how that would feel as citizens, as someone living in that place. So to do that, to think about how it would feel, we need to think about a country that is run by a dictatorship. So currently, at the moment, in modern times, there is a country called, so we have Korea, and we have North Korea and South Korea. Now, North Korea is actually run as a dictatorship, which it's actually quite rare nowadays for this to actually still be happening. So I'm going to show you just a really short clip. This is a lady who had lived in North Korea, and she has managed to leave North Korea now. And she has just done a short interview about what it was like to live in a dictatorship. So I'm going to show you this, and while we're watching, have a think about how it would feel. Think about of our skill of empathy and how it would feel to be living in this way. So let me make it a bit bigger for you.
The words have ears and the fears have eyes. My name is Hyun-Seol Lee. I'm North Korean factor, and I grew up inside North Korea, and I left the country when I was 17, and I wrote my memoir called The Girl with 7 Names. Everything we grew up in North Korea was normal. I thought just praising the leaders as God, public executions. We grew up with those public executions. We thought this is a very normal things to do as a human being. I thought every country have that system, and then the constant public executions were a constant reminder that I shouldn't do anything to disobey our government and the leaders. In North Korea, we can't say the leader's name by itself. We have to put something, the titles, in front of the name. Otherwise, we can be sent to political prison camp. As North Koreans, we know that we have to be careful what we are saying. By saying wrong things, can be sent to prison camp. And then not only you, but entire family will be disappeared in the middle of the night. It's a very common knowledge inside North Korea. We don't know what happened inside, but once somebody is sent inside there, can't get out of the camp and until they die. My mom told me many times that when you are outside, you have to be careful what you are saying and don't repeat the words what you hear at home. This is in North Korea exactly. It's right now I feel like we lived in a just prison. It's like a virtual prison we live inside the country, and still we didn't know that we were suffering.
Okay, so let me go back to what I was sharing. Okay, so there was lots.
More than 1,000 North Koreans try to escape the country every.
Oh dear. There was lots of really interesting ideas in there, and really quite difficult to hear some of that. So she was talking about how it feels like living in prison, and also that there are public executions. So that means people are actually killed for breaking laws, and they're killed in the public. So they would be taken out into the public and be killed, so that they're sort of setting an example from those people. But I can't think what I was going to say. We want to think about how it would feel to live somewhere like that. So somewhere where she's saying it feels like you're in prison. Oh, that's what I was thinking. You can't even say your leader's name without the official titles. And you have to be very careful about what you're saying, especially when you're out in public, because you don't know who might be listening, and you could be very severely punished just for something like that seems like so minor. So yeah, you wouldn't be able to just live in a free way if it feels like living in prison. Then obviously that's not a nice way to be living, is it? So some of the ideas there, you're not allowed to say certain things, public executions, and also North Koreans aren't allowed to freely travel abroad. You can't even just go on holiday or something somewhere. So how do you feel about this? How does that make you feel to learn that there are people in the world today that actually have to live like that and follow all of these rules? Just have a think about how that feels, because this all comes back to our empathy and thinking about other people and other people throughout the world. So in Roman Britain, it's difficult to know exactly what all the laws would have been, but from our understanding of what a dictatorship is, we can empathise with the people that have to live like this. Now, I have got a couple of little facts here about Roman Britain. So many of the protections and rights given to people under Roman law only applied to Roman citizens, and it was a big deal to be a full Roman citizen. There were even different levels of Roman citizenship, each one having more or less rights than the next. So that means if you were someone really important in Roman times, then the rules would have been different for you. You would have got away with things that maybe the less important people would not have been able to get away with. And also it says here that the punishment for committing a crime in Rome was not the same for everyone. So the punishment you received depended on your status. So again, like I say, it depends on how important and wealthy you were. So if you were someone wealthy, you would receive far less punishment than a slave would for exactly the same crime. And punishments could include things like beatings and lashings, exile from Rome, so that means being sent away and you're never allowed to return, fines, or even death. And the Romans generally didn't send people to prison for crimes, but they did have jails to hold people while their guilt or punishment was determined. So going to prison didn't happen so much. It would have been one of these other punishments, which actually sound worse, don't they? Being beaten or being sent away. So you'd be sent away from your family and your friends and not allowed to come back. So lots of things there that would happen, especially if you were sort of a poorer or a less important Roman, then life's not looking too great for you, is it? So your task for today is a nice easy one. So you're going to draw yourself, and around it you're going to fill in as many thought bubbles as you can with how you would feel living under a dictatorship. So I've given you some ideas. So you can either go for like a word in each thought bubble and see how many thought bubbles you can come up with, as many as possible, or you can explain it a little bit more in some more detail. And there might be a couple of your ideas that you want to explain more. So I've said that I would feel confused about why I could not have a say in decisions. Okay, so you want to think about not only the punishments that you would get, but also the fact that you're not involved in any form of decision making. There's no voting. All the laws are decided for you. Okay, so that's your task for today. So make sure you share those on Dojo when they're finished, and I will have some more for you soon. So see you later.